Envoi. In his haunting little book, Minima Moralia, Theodore Adorno wrote that an artistically satisfying film could doubtless be made, meeting all the conditions and limitations imposed by the Hays Office, the Hollywood censor of the day, but only as long as there was no Hays Office. I have always taken that brilliantly gnomic observation to imply the following two things. First, virtue and merit can become their opposites if they are exacted or compelled. Second, no self-description or definition can be relied upon. An official of the Teamsters Union, asked by a Senate hearing if his union was really powerful, responded guardedly but elegantly by saying that being powerful was a little like being ladylike. If you have to say you are, you probably ain't. I have not, throughout our correspondence, been quite able to shake off a slight sense of imposture. If you define me as an authority on the radical, you may be under an illusion. If I take your invitation at face value, I may be making a fool of myself. An early tutor of mine in radical journalism, the late James Cameron, once confessed that every time he addressed the typewriter he thought to himself, "Today is the day they are going to find me out." He had been the great chronicler of Indian independence, and when he died was the only man who had seen 3 nuclear explosions. I am consoled when I suffer this very same apprehension by the thought that the Pope and the Queen and the President all wake up every morning with a similar gnawing fear, or that, if they do not, they deserve to be doubted and distrusted even more, if that were possible, than I doubt and distrust them now. So I have no peroration or clarion note on which to close. Beware the irrational, however seductive. Shun the transcendent and all who invite you to subordinate or annihilate yourself. Distrust compassion. Prefer dignity for yourself and others. Don't be afraid to be thought arrogant or selfish. Picture all experts as if they were mammals. Never be a spectator of unfairness or stupidity. Seek out argument and disputation for their own sake. The grave will supply plenty of time for silence. Suspect your own motives and all excuses. Do not live for others any more than you would expect others to live for you. I shall leave you with a few words from George Konrad, the Hungarian dissident who retained his integrity through some crepuscular times and who survived his persecutors by writing Antipolitics and The Loser and many other lapidary essays and fictions. When, after the emancipation of his country and society, they came to him and offered him the presidency, he said, "No thanks." He wrote this in 1987, when the dawn seemed a good way off. Have a lived life instead of a career. Put yourself in the safe-keeping of good taste. Lived freedom will compensate you for a few losses. If you don't like the style of others, cultivate your own. Get to know the tricks of reproduction. Be a self-publisher, even in conversation, and then the joy of working can fill your days. May it be so with you, and may you keep your powder dry for the battles ahead, and know when and how to recognize them.
This has been an Audible Inc. production of Letters to a Young Contrarian, written by Christopher Hitchens, narrated by James Adams. Executive producer, Jennifer Bassick. Producer, Mike Charzik. Production coordinator, Kat Lambrix. Edited by Greg Lawrence. Music by Michael Whalen. Copyright 2001 by Christopher Hitchens. Production copyright 2010 by Audible Inc.
Audible hopes you have enjoyed this program.